Major production funding for Game Notes is provided by Hargrove Engineers and Constructors is proud to support LPB. Since 1995, Hargrove has been employee-owned and relationship-driven. With 2,700 teammates around the world, Hargrove works as one team to go beyond expectations.
You have what it takes to begin your journey: curiosity, ingenuity, intellect, determination. Through a vast portfolio of affordable and in-demand academic programs, hundreds of student-focused activities, and wraparound services, Southern University meets you where you are, giving you the tools and support that lead you to a successful career in the sciences or the arts. Begin with your goals anywhere. Finish stronger at Southern University at subr.edu.
The Rolf Pugh Agency is proud to support this program. Based in Louisiana, Rolf Pugh has provided marketing services nationwide since 1981, partnering with clients in healthcare, retail, automotive, and more. For more information, visit rpagency.com.
With additional support from Lafayette Travel, the LSU Alumni Association, and the Cook Hotel and Conference Center at LSU, Louisiana Tech University, Natchitoches Regional Medical Center, Northwestern State University, Red Stick Sports, the U.S. Army Baton Rouge Recruiting Battalion, the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, and viewers like you. Thank you.
And we are off and running here with post-game notes on LPB. Great to have you with us on this Sunday evening, everyone. I'm Victor Howell. We have a lot of football to talk about. Two teams enjoyed a bye week this weekend, the Colonels from Nichols, the Warhawks from UL-Monroe. So they had a chance to sit back like you and watch the other 9 major programs in our state take action this weekend. We had some close games, a lot of emotions flying in some of the games in our state, and a couple of big wins, and we're going to talk about all of that here in the next 60 minutes. So let's set you up with the rundown of what we have coming up here on Game Notes. And we start in Tiger Stadium, where we'll get to LSU in Florida, the SEC opener against these two bitter rivals, and how LSU was able to walk away with the win. For the Lions from Southeastern, welcome back home. The debut at Strawberry Stadium this season, and the offense was outstanding, hanging 56 in the win. And up in Ruston, did the Bulldogs from Louisiana Tech find their QB1? I'll tell you what they did find Saturday night, their offense, and a lot of it as they opened up conference play against New Mexico State. We have all of that to address and more coming up here on Game Notes. But while we are talking about Ruston, let's start our program up in that area, just out of the main part of the city of Ruston. Let's go to Grambling's campus, where Mickey Joseph had his Tigers at home for the first time this season. Remember, they opened up the season down the road in Shreveport, and then last week they took that big trip up to the Horseshoe in Columbus to take on number 1 Ohio State. Coming into this week, Mickey Joseph told Grambling Nation, relax. They were a little bent out of shape because of his comments about having a good band going to Columbus. They were going to give it their all, but they lost and got shut out. He said, look at what they had. Number 1 in the nation, a budget that's unlimited compared to ours. We're going to be fine. Well, they returned home, and it was a thriller Saturday night up in Grambling. And that's where we start out with this game, as they were hosting Kentucky State in this ball game. First true home game, as we mentioned, against the Thoroughbreds. First quarter action, and we're going to start with Kentucky State's offense. Chad Elzy, he takes this one in from 6 yards out. The Thoroughbreds are off and running, if you will. It's 14-0 Kentucky State. Look at the little synchronized celebration in the end zone as well. Let's go to the second quarter. It's 14-3. Grambling has put up a field goal. 3rd and 9 from their own 26. Grambling's Bryce Cage comes in and gets the sack for the Tigers, and Kentucky State is forced to punt. On the ensuing drive, Grambling converts on their 3rd down. It's 3rd and 6. Xavion Tisa throws it to Tyson George. He comes down with the jump ball on the sideline, out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Next play, touchdown. Tisa to Keith Jones. 12 yards on the pass, and it's 14-10. Grambling's right back in this ballgame. Now later in the second, Grambling with another 3rd down. It's 3rd and 10 from their own 25, and it's Keith Jones across the middle. Breaks a tackle, and he's off. 48 yards on the completion before he's finally brought down. Works his way all the way down almost to the 25-yard line. 2 plays later, Tisa calls his own number. This one's 13 yards, wide open lane into the end zone. It's 21-17 Thoroughbreds at the break. But we are just getting started in this one. Let's go to the 3rd quarter. Passing touchdown for Tizet, who dumps it off to Keith Jones. It's a little dump, but Jones, look at him hit the gas. Break 2 tackles, and he's gone. 36 yards for the score. Grambling has its first lead of the night. It's 24-21. Jump ahead now to the 4th quarter. Here comes Kentucky State. Torrance Bardell to Darius Cyprian. Drops it in over the shoulder from 33 yards out for the touchdown. 28-24 Thoroughbreds with just over 7 minutes to play. Now Kentucky State would add a field goal, so they're up 31-24, but here come the Tigers once again. 1st and 10 from their own 37. Tees out a 15-yard pass to Jordan Bride for the first down. Next play from the 48. It's a 19-yard scramble for the quarterback. He gets it down to the Kentucky State 29-yard line. So the Tigers once again on the move. Now down to the 17-yard line with 17 seconds left to go. Tizet keeps it again. Back, looking, waits, sprints. Official gets out of the way. He cuts it to the left. He's walking into the end zone with 12 seconds to go. Grambling has come back, and we are tied up at 31. We're going to overtime. Now, Kentucky State has the first possession in overtime. It's 3rd and 4 for the Thoroughbreds. Bardell, back to pass. John McCall looks like he's going to have the first down. You see him get spun, and then you also see the ball comes out. We're going the other way. Tyrell Raby takes it, and he is off to the races. 83 yards. The cameraman can't even keep up with him. There he is. He's in the end zone in overtime. So Kentucky State had a chance. They lose their opportunity, and Grambling, after a long review to make sure the ball, they didn't stop in terms of forward pursuit, it's ruled a touchdown. Grambling wins it 37-31 in overtime. Look at the numbers for Xavier Tizet. 228 passing yards, 99 rushing, and 4 touchdowns as Grambling racks up 458 total yards of offense. Congratulations to the Tigers and their home opener as they get the win. Next game, next Saturday, they will be taking on East Texas A&M. Now that was a close one that had a great ending. How about another close one? Over in Lake Charles, where the Cowboys from McNeese back home after the tough loss to the Raging Cajuns last week, hosting Weber State. Jake Strong under center for the Cowboys on 3rd and 14. The pass is high, it's deflected, and picked off by Angel King. There's one missed opportunity. Midway through the first, Fabrizio Pinton from 38 yards, and he misses it right. Some early missed opportunities. Would those come back to haunt the Cowboys? Well, second play after the missed field goal, Jackson Gilkey. He goes deep for Jalen Record, and he's on the record as taking it to the house. 78 yards for the touchdown, and it's 7-0 Weber State. Second quarter, Gilkey here with the keeper. He finds some room on the left side, and he finds no defenders in his way. 50 yards for the score. Weber State's up 14-0. The Cowboys strike back. 3 plays later, Bryce Strong up the middle for 68. Boy, some big plays already. 38 yards, 50 yards. How about this one that goes 68 yards, and it's 14-7. End of the half, Weber State to kick the field goal, except they don't. It's a fake. What a call. Sloan Calder, the kicker, takes the pitch, goes into the end zone. It's 21-7 now at the break. Later third, 28-14 now is the score. Jake Strong keeps it, gets it in from 5 yards out. It's 28-21. The Cowboys in good shape, down only 7 with plenty of time to go. Early fourth quarter, Davian Godley from 12 yards out. Look as he runs into some resistance, bounces back to the right, gets himself clear and into the end zone. 35-21 Weber State. Next possession, Strong back to pass. Looking, and he wants this one back. B.J. Carey takes this one, and he's going all the way. 42 yards on the pick six, and it's 42-21. Weber State looks like they're going to put it away. Except 2 plays later, Trevante Citizen, and there he goes. 79 yards up the middle, just 2 plays after that turnover, and it's 42-28 with 9 minutes to go. Cowboys have some time to get some work done. After a Mason Edwards interception, Jake Strong looks in the back of the end zone, finds Jonathan Harris, and it's good. 42-35 with time to play. 5 minutes, in fact. The Cowboys defense forces a punt. Now under a minute to go. Strong looks, scrambles, no defense to get him. He cuts to the left, into the end zone. You're down 1. You kick it and go to overtime. Or Matt Viator rolls the dice. You go for 2 in the win with 42 seconds to go, but the pass at the line of scrimmage is knocked down. The decision to go for 2 proves to be the difference in the game at the end as Weber State holds on to win it by a thread. 42-41 with that failed 2-point conversion. You see the total yards. The 2 teams combined for nearly 1,000 yards. And now the Cowboys have to regroup. They go on the road next week to the great state of Utah, where they will take on Utah State. After the ball game, Matt Viator knew what everybody wanted to know. What about that decision to go for 2 in the win?
we just have to play better at certain times. And, and I have no regrets going for it if you want to ask that question. So I'm sure somebody is. So I'll go ahead and answer it right now. I have zero regrets going for the win. I lined up to tie Florida State my second or third year at ULM, and we missed it. And I promised I'd never do that again. So we thought we had a great call. If you go back and watch the film, if you care to do that, Jonathan Harris is wide open. Just wasn't meant to be. Their guy tipped the ball and tipped it. I thought it was a good call. Like I said, I thought we had a chance on the play. We got what we thought we were going to get. They showed man and drop zone. And just like I said, it wasn't meant to be.
What a back-and-forth affair it was in Lake Charles, but the Cowboys come up just 1 point short. You see how balanced it was for McNeese. 278 on the ground, 259 through the air. Third down conversions at 50%. Both teams for 3 for 3 in the red zone. The one big difference, Weber State had the ball for 5 minutes more. But when you look at it down the end, you missed a field goal early, a couple of the interceptions, one that got run back for a touchdown, and still the Cowboys were knocking on the door with a chance to tie and force overtime against a tired Weber State team or go for the win. They went for the win, and they come up short. Now, as we mentioned, it's time to regroup, get ready to hit the road next week to go play at Utah State. It was quite a show in Baton Rouge, a sold-out Tiger Stadium, north of 100,000 fans on hand at Death Valley to see the SEC opener for not only the LSU Tigers, but also the Florida Gators. Former Louisiana head coach Billy Napier on the hot seat a little bit now, getting a little toasty after what happened losing at home 1 week ago to South Florida, brings his Gators in. And remember what happened last year. LSU went to Gainesville as the ranked team, 6 sacks and 11 tackles for loss later by the Florida Gators, and they got the win. Now they come in wounded, but you knew it would be a tough one in the SEC, and indeed it was. Let's show you how things played out there in Tiger Stadium. A big night for Tiger Charles Alexander getting his number in the Ring of Honor and retired. Congratulations to him. Brian Kelly getting his team ready to go. As he always likes to mention, we want to go 1-0. Third play of Florida's opening drive. Looks like no big deal. DJ Lagway to Vernell Brown, but it goes under review. Why? Watch the left of your screen. That's Whit Weeks, and under review, they call it for targeting, and he is ejected from the game 3 plays in. Your defensive leader, Brian Kelly, with the new rule, he didn't have to leave the stadium. He could stay on the field. Brian Kelly saying, look, I need you. You can be a leader on the bench. The Gators' drive would stall. They would close it with a Trey Smack 45-yard field goal. Billy Napier, I'm keeping my job. Tigers now go 3 and out. Huge play here. Lagley rolls left, and it's a defensive breakdown, wide open. 87 yards, it's Jaden Ball all the way for the end zone, except way down the field, there's a flag. Holding on the Gators. It comes back, Napier, bummed. Now you get down for the LSU Tigers getting a field goal after penalties hurt LSU. Damian Ramos from 46 yards out. We're tied at 3. Brian Kelly liking what he sees. Nussmeier finally gets rolling. Good drive for the Tigers, ends finding Xavion Thomas in the end zone. It's 10-3 LSU after a 10-play, 76-yard drive. Now it's time for Lagway to heat up. 70 of 75 yards on this drive for Florida through the air, 3 for 3 on third downs. He hits Aiden Mazzell, and we're tied at 10. Under 30 seconds to go in the first half. Lagway back to pass, picked off by A.J. Halsey. Great field position for LSU with under 30 seconds to go, and that sets up Mr. Ramos. 45 yards on the field goal to end the half, and LSU goes into the break with a 3-point lead. In the third quarter, Lagway under pressure, a sign of things to come. Devon Keys, Patrick Payton both get the sack. Later in the third, Lagway back to pass, picked off by Deshaun Spears, and look at the long strides. Down the sideline he goes and into the end zone. Interception number 3 on the night for Lagway, and it's 20-10 Tigers. Florida linemen trying to get in their quarterback's ear. Look, we need you. Stay focused. We need you. Well, in the fourth quarter, inside the LSU 30, Lagway, for some reason, goes into triple coverage. Tamarcus Cooley doesn't care. He picks him off, and that's interception number 4. Oh, but we're not done. Just over 2 minutes to go. Florida desperate for a quick score and an onside kick, but Lagway scrambles, and this is really just a desperation heave. Throws it up, picked off by DJ Pickett. That's the 5th interception of the night. Celebration for the coaches up in the box from the defense. Fireworks going off as LSU wins it by the score of 20-10, so they do still go with their theme of 1-0 each and every week. Florida falls to 1-2, 0-1 in conference play. The 5 interceptions by LSU's defense, the most since the 2020 season. Look in the second half for the Florida Gators. They had the ball for 21 minutes. What did they get out of it? 3 turnovers, all interceptions, 0 points. That's how you lose. Next game for LSU, they stay at home before they welcome the Lions from Southeastern, and then they'll close out the month on the road at Ole Miss. After the ball game, comments from LSU head coach Brian Kelly.
One of the SEC classics, right? Two teams just battling. We did whatever was necessary to win the game. Defensively, obviously the 5 turnovers, playing to our defense. Grant Chadwick was outstanding. I'm sorry that that doesn't sound appealing to you folks, but I really don't care. We're trying to win football games. We flipped field position, and I think he had 4 inside the 20. Sometimes I think as fans you got to understand there are ways to lose that game if you're not smart. And I thought we were very smart in the way we managed the game, and managing it was for the outcome that we got, and that is winning a football game in the SEC. This is a journey. This is a long time. Do we want to clean up things? Absolutely. But finding a way to win the game, really proud of our group.
As we talk about so much, it is a gauntlet in the SEC, and LSU Florida always a close game. Brian Kelly said this week, if you're looking for 55-0, this is the wrong game to watch. And indeed, it was 20-10. As you take a look at the final numbers, 96 rushing yards for LSU, 50-plus came on the big play at the end of the game when it was 3rd and 2. Florida needed a stop. They got it down there then to run out the clock. Just 10 first downs for LSU and 4 of 14 on third down conversions. They didn't have the ball a long time, but they made it count when they needed to for LSU to get the big win. After Brian Kelly's opening comments about the game, he was asked questions by the media, and it only took one for the fireworks to begin.
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's ridiculous questions, and I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
Well, so there's that. 24 hours ago, Michael Caldwell from WBRZ in Baton Rouge agreed to come on here to talk about LSU. I didn't know 12 hours later you'd become a social media trending. Hey, I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Thanks. We've got a lot to talk about.
Especially happy after last night to be
well,
here.
Look, we talked about fireworks. We saw it right there. So let's address the elephant in the room for what it's worth, because I know you've talked about it. You've been in a long time. You were in local business when I was in the local business, and that was 30 years ago. Certainly, Kelly was excited for the win. I think your questions, if it was asked a little later, maybe he answers it differently. It was first one out of the gates, but you certainly have the opportunity if you wanted to respond or at least address what was happening in the room last night.
I think what it was is when you sit there and you watch a game, you're going to take away all the positives. But as a media member, you're also going to sit there and wonder what happened, right? And that's all that question was. What happened? And unfortunately for Brian Kelly and his LSU Tiger football team, it's what's happening. This is a trend now after 3 games. And so with the potential that they showed against Clemson, I feel like the offense has regressed against Louisiana Tech and certainly last night against Florida. So, he talked about the defense. He talked about what a great job they did. He talked about the punter. He covered those things. He didn't talk about the offense. And you've been there. We get about 10 minutes, probably about 10 questions. I was the first one that got the mic. I'm sorry. I was the first one that got the mic. I raised my hand. They gave it to me, and I asked the question that I needed to ask because that was what I was going to report on. I'm going to report about the defense as well, and I'm going to report about special teams. I actually did report about something that got overlooked, Chris Hilton making a great play at the goal line. There's lots of aspects to that game, but the offense is definitely one of those aspects, and it needs to be addressed. And he can sidestep it. He can deflect. He can talk to his team through me. He can talk to the fans through me. He's he's done this a long time. I've done this a long time. I don't take it personal.
Yeah.
I understand what it was. It felt like he went on a little long with it. But you know what? We're going to move on. The Tigers got the victory. I'm not sitting there to clap and congratulate a coach after a victory. Like people think that's what maybe the media is supposed to do. And I know that that's not what the media does. We're there to ask questions. We're there to be the mouthpiece for the fans that are paying his salary, buying his tickets, and purchasing the popcorn and Cokes that are keeping that show running every Saturday night. So, yeah, I just felt like I was doing my job.
Yeah, well, there were good questions and topics that we can talk about because when you look statistically in the SEC, I know it's only been 3 games, but in some of the categories you were addressing, LSU is at or near the bottom in the conference. And I know last night, for instance, on the third downs, I think they were 4 for 14. Now, you did get the win against Florida, no doubt about that. But how I interpret it, and now we can transition to maybe talk more, looking ahead.
Yeah.
You still have the Alabama, who's now showing a pulse. You have Texas A&M, who went on the road and beat Notre Dame. You have a high-scoring Ole Miss team. You have a Vanderbilt team that just absolutely punked South Carolina, 24 hours ago. So to your point, the challenges are there, and some of those categories are key. So we got to see now, where do you go from here?
And guess what? Oklahoma's good.
That was going to be a layup. Forgot about them. Yeah.
That was going to be a layup at the end of the season.
Right.
So no, I mean third down especially, right? And third and short, I think, has been really what has gotten my attention most because we saw it against Louisiana Tech when they were at the goal line, and then we saw it last night a number of times. I counted 3 that I know of. 3rd and 2 situations. You think in the SEC, with the offensive line being healthy, Braylon Moore back in the mix, a run game that has proven it's capable, you think that they would be able to pick up a couple of those 3rd and 2s. And so 4 and 14 on third down is alarming because, yes, you have to keep your offense on the field at some point. The defense can be lights out, and it absolutely is. Tip of the cap to Blake Baker and that crew for, finding the pieces, finding out what they're capable of and plugging them in at the exact right moment. The depth they showed last night is remarkable. We can talk more about that if you want. But to me, the offensive struggles come down to the offensive line. And that's what I really need to find out. Is this offensive line struggling because it's still figuring it out, or maybe they're not as good as we thought they were? And some of these pieces, the way they're utilizing them on offense, is it as efficient as it needs to be? And I just right now, the answer I think is no. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing that time and again. What did they score last night? 13 points, offensively. So I think they're averaging right around 17 points a game.
And then when you look, when you go into that ball game and you take away what happened a year ago in Gainesville, right? Nussmeier sacked 6 times, 11 tackles for loss. So you figure going in, you had to do something with Florida's defensive front to protect Nussmeier because last year that's what happened. You went in ranked, they weren't. And then they got to him and took him out of their offense. So to agree with your point and what you're noticing, it looked like the offensive line did its job to help protect. 90-something yards, I think, rushing, and 50 came on that last play on the 3rd and 1, to put down the game. So they can be explosive. But a running back can always be the quarterback's best friend, right? So to see that running game improve, what do you think needs to happen? Because we've seen the offensive line, they did their job. They kept that Florida defense out of the backfield. But moving forward, what do you need? What do you want to see them do?
I don't know. I think some of it has to be play calling. You look at what they were able to do against Clemson with their middle screen game. I mean, that was remarkable. They're utilizing the wide receivers in the running back position. They're getting rushing yards from a different way and focus, and that's fine. Like, they're eating up some of those rush yards with the short passing game and the screen game. Like, that's what I would like to see, maybe a little bit more diversification of that offense. Again, I think they're doing everything right. Maybe they don't necessarily have the pieces. They made a substitution at left guard last night early in the game. So, there's things that they're still trying to figure out. And quite honestly, that's all I wanted Brian Kelly to say. I mean, I felt like I lobbed it up there for him, and he could have just been like, hey, it's a work in progress. We're figuring it out. But there's clearly some regression there. That interception from Nussmeier last night was just terrible. And that's what they've tried to coach out of him all season long. So as far as the run game goes, I think maybe some of it's personnel at the back room. I mean, you don't have a finisher. Again, we get back to 3rd and 2. If Caleb Jackson can't pick up 3rd and 2, then what's going on? He is built for 3rd and 2. So there's aspects of their game that don't make sense to me why it isn't functioning at a higher level.
You mentioned Nussmeier and the throw. Of course, he talked about that even at media day, saying, I have to be better and not make too many mistakes. That interception against Florida was a regression to what we've seen before, and as you mentioned, they've been trying to get him out of that. That play aside, though, with all the hype and expectations, you think Nussmeier has been about where you expected him to be? You think he's exceeded a little bit? Or you think he's a step behind?
It's hard to say because some of the shots that they've taken downfield just haven't hit. Some of them have been called for pass interference. Some of them have been misses. Some of them have been defended well. And of course, the one at Clemson, probably could have been a touchdown. So, I think you have to factor all of that in there. Personally, I think I expected more. And maybe that's my problem. And maybe that's the point that Brian Kelly was speaking to in calling me spoiled. Maybe it's our expectations of this team. When you say last year, final home game of the season, we're heading to the national championship and we're keeping receipts. You're elevating my expectations of your program. Okay, you believe in this team all season long. Bullish was the term that he used. I'm bullish on this team. All right, I'm buying in, man. I'm buying what you're selling. You out there at Clemson, you play well, you win on the road in a big game. I'm buying in. I believe you. But then we're seeing it kind of work its way back. And now I'm like, buddy, you got all the pieces. You wrote the check. You got the transfer portal pieces. Like, let's put it out there. And I think that is the issue, right? Our expectations aren't meeting the results. And maybe that's on us. And maybe that's what Brian was saying.
Well, you got the Lions coming up, and then you got Ole Miss where you get a break, and then you really get into the heart of the SEC. So we're 3 games in. How about maybe another 3 or 4 games for another second, say, quarter, 9-week semester, if you will?
Yeah.
We'll get back together again and get another evaluation, see where you think they're trending as they're moving forward, and enjoy the ride.
Sounds great. Hopefully I won't be trending on Twitter.
I'll just say, don't become a TikTok famous guy or something right before we do this. But I appreciate you coming in and talking Tigers.
Thanks, Victor.
Thanks. Michael Cobble with WBRZ out of Baton Rouge, talking Tigers and LSU, now 3-0 on the season. After a tough home loss 1 week ago to Alabama State, the Southern Jaguars on the road out on the West Coast, taking on Fresno State. First quarter, E.J. Warner, that's the son of Kurt Warner, you might have heard of him, NFL Hall of Famer. Harold Duvall with the touchdown reception, 25 yards at 7-0 Bulldogs. Second quarter for Fresno, Warner with the jet sweep. Little quick pop pass to Rayshon Luke. He takes it 19 yards to the end zone. It's 21-0 Bulldogs here in the second quarter. Later in the second, Southern does find some offense. Trey Holly up and over the line from 1 yard out. It's 21-7 Bulldogs, but a tough night on the West Coast for the Jags. They wound up losing this ball game 56-7. Jaguar marching band having a good time. Hopefully Fresno people enjoyed their performance. Now Southern has the week off before they jump into SWAC play in a big game against Jackson State. The Demons from Northwestern State, after having lost at Minnesota 1 week ago, back up in the northern part of the states, taking on Cincinnati. A little afternoon tailgating action up there in Cincy. Very first play of the ball game. Evan Pryor, 20 yards on the left side for the Bearcats. It's a sign of things to come. 3 plays later, Brendan Sorsby finds Joe Royer all alone into the end zone for the 21-yard touchdown. Bearcats are off and running. After a Demon punt, first play of the second drive, Sorsby with time. He finds Caleb Goody. Oh, Goody. 55 yards for the touchdown, 14-0 Bearcats, and we've played 4 minutes. Rough day at the office for Abram Johnson, the redshirt freshman quarterback from Parkview Baptist in Baton Rouge. 2nd and 12, chased out of the pocket, gets tackled for a loss on 3rd down, trying to go for the quick pass, completes it. That's a tackle for a loss. The Bearcats defense was swarming on a struggling day for the Demons. Midway through the first, Sorsby finds Tawee Walker. 10 yards on this reception, 21-0, 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. Next series, we talked about the pressure. Johnston under it once again. This time, he can't find anywhere to go. He wanted to, but winds up going the wrong way. In the end, it's a 12-yard loss on the sack by Rob Jackson. Cincy then decides to go up top. Sorsby to Caleb Good. And this one, too good. Look at that catch as he's wearing a defender, but he brings it down. They rule him down at the 1-yard line. They had to check it. They confirmed at the 1. It just sets up the next play. Very easy on the touchdown. 28-0 Cincinnati. Blaine McCorkle wants to see that fight in his team. Johnston here, he's going to complete one. We've got it going to Ben Buson, the wide receiver from St. Paul High School in Mandeville. Problem is he gets popped, and the ball comes out, just can't catch a break. Since he jumps on the ball 2 plays later, Sorsby on the jet sweep to Isaiah Johnson, who scores 35-0 in the first half. In the first half, Cincinnati had 449 yards. The Demons had just 45, and that included 7 in the second quarter. Cincinnati cruises to the win over Northwestern State, who drops now to 1-2. Back-to-back losses to teams in the Big Ten and now the Big 12. You see, they struggled on offense, as I mentioned. 102 total yards, 0 for 11 on 3rd down. Just could not stay on the field to get any sort of consistency going on the offensive side. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, 605 total yards. Next up for the Demons, well, they're going to stay on the road. It's a little different this time. They'll go to Prairie View A&M next Saturday. Afterwards, head coach Blaine McCorkle keeping things in perspective when it comes to this loss to Cincinnati.
Yeah, this game doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You want to compete every time you go out. You want to learn and you want to get better, and that was what I wanted our guys to do today. You know, if you want to look at this game, we didn't tackle very well. We were a very poor tackling team. We didn't wrap up. We didn't run our feet. We didn't do the things we're coached to do, and we had some selfish penalties. But other than that, the last 2 weeks, We've done what we're supposed to do. We're going home, and we're going to get ready to beat Prairie View A&M in 6 days. We mentioned a minute ago, the tackling was tough. We didn't tackle well as a football team, but, when you play these games, sometimes you do take a little bit of a beating. And we came in here missing 5 starters or contributors on defense. 3 guys were out with injuries from a week ago. Had 1 guy missed with a death in the family, and we hate that for him. And we had 1 guy that was suspended for the week for not living up to the standard of the league. And then throughout the course of this game, we lost 3 more defensive backs. So right now you're looking at 8 contributors or starters on defense out, and hopefully we'll do a good job getting those back this week, but that'll probably be day-to-day right now. The penalties were better in the second half. I told the guys at halftime if we had another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, their day was done. It's unacceptable. That's not who we are. It's not who we've been the first 2 games, and so hopefully we ended that. But, yeah, we did run the ball in spots a little bit better. I think we have an offense that at our level is going to be able to run the ball, move the ball, and do some things. So I'm excited to see them play against our level of competition here pretty quick. That's kind of where we are.
Here's a look at the numbers from behind the game. And again, some ugly numbers on the offensive side, but you heard him just say that phrase, our level. Look, you were in the Big Ten, now you're in the Big 12. 102 total yards. That included 33 passing yards with very young, a lot of youth and young players at the quarterback position. Just 6 first downs and 0 for 11 on third down. The Demons just could not get any consistency going on that offensive side, and in the end, it winds up leading to a break. And please, for Northwestern State fans, remember what happened in Grambling 1 week ago. Mickey Joseph talked about going to face Ohio State, and he said, we know what this is. We know what we're doing. And then he made the comment, hey, we're bringing the band. Don't lose focus or get twisted sideways when you heard Blaine McCorkle say, this game doesn't matter. You're outmanned in the Big 12. It is what it is with the experience. The key thing to focus on with what McCorkle said, you're dealing with 8 injuries, and then that phrase at the end when he said, when we get down to our level. It's an experience. They're young. Now that experience will help them when they get ready for Prairie View. Then you jump into South End Conference. Then start focusing a little more. Don't get twisted by what you heard him say at the beginning when he said this game doesn't matter, because in the conference standings, it doesn't. Let's take out to Missouri now, because the Raging Cajuns from Louisiana were on the road after the home win and cracking the win column for the first time this season against McNeese 1 week ago, taking on the Tigers from Missouri. Oh, boy. You might know the name Ahmad Hardy. Football fans in North Louisiana do. Played for UL-Monroe. Cajuns know him. They played against him when he was at UL-Monroe. He's now in Missouri. Guess what? He didn't go for NIL money. He went for a bigger opportunity, and he is making it pay off. 10 yards on the early run, 14 yards on that run, closing out the drive, 2nd and goal. Why not give it to Hardy again? He carried you down the field. Now he carries you into the end zone, and it is 7-0 Missouri. A tough day for Daniel Beal and the Raging Cajun offense. You know they've got those 2-headed monsters at running back. Bill Davis, loss of 1. Missouri's defense gets into the backfield. 2nd down, the other way. Davis, a loss of 1. Now we've got to throw the ball. Beal behind the sticks on 3rd and 12. He's trying to go up top to Shelton Sampson, but gets him turned around. Sampson can't get the ball at the 47-yard line. Raging Cajuns have to punt. A huge moment in the game here. Marquise Johnson reaches for the end zone. Ball's out. Marion Eliam is going the other way, and he's gone. Literally 100 yards the other direction. They're not going to catch him, and it's a touchdown. But now they want to review it. And under review, watch Marquise Johnson stretch the ball over the goal line. They said he had complete control. That means the play is over and it's a score. So you take the points off the board for the Cajuns, you give them to the Tigers. It's 14-0. Later in the second, Bo Pribula, the quarterback, makes a move, 14 yards out. He scores. Early second quarter, it's 21-0. Beal, now on 3rd down, sees an ambush of the wrong colored jerseys. Black jerseys everywhere for a loss of 7 on the sack to Khalil Jacobs. Story of the game. Here's what happens. Look at Cajuns get great defensive pressure. Pribula's about to go down, but he tosses it up to Trey Tomlinson, and 39 yards later, he's gone. Tomlinson got the pressure. That was Jamal Roberts. He takes it to the house. Either way, when it was about to be a sack, turns into a touchdown. It was that kind of day. Hardy's monster day continues here. Watch him go 71 yards. Didn't play the 4th quarter. 250 rushing yards on the day. The Cajuns did have a field goal, and then they did find one bright spot on offense. It's a 1-play drive, courtesy of Zylan Perry, who goes up the middle, turns on the jets, and he's gone. Makes it all the way for the 84-yard touchdown for the Cajuns, but just too little in the afternoon against the Tigers from Missouri, who pushed up the kickoff 3 hours because of concerns for heat. It was Missouri's offense that was red hot. Cajuns struggled. 52-10 is the final score. Hardy from Missouri, as I mentioned, didn't play in the 4th quarter. 22 carries, 250 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. The Raging Cajuns offense only 121 yards, while Missouri went north of 600 in the ballgame. The Cajuns back in Lafayette for work, then they're back on the road They won't stop in Missouri. They'll keep going when they face Eastern Michigan on the road. Via Zoom after the ball game, Michael Decimo talking about the effort against the Tigers.
We didn't do things to help ourselves, on defense, we weren't able to get off the field the first 3 or 4 drives, and on offense, we weren't able to do anything. So, the reality of it is that, we knew that this was an uphill climb. You got to move on and go to the next one. We don't play Mizzou again. So, next week we have another team. We need to get ready to go play. We need to get ready to go try to beat that team. We're not doing the things to be effective in the pass game. We're not protecting it good enough. We're not getting open frequently enough. We're not putting the ball exactly where it needs to be at times. We got to get everybody on the same page. And, we played a team. We knew they were going to contest everything. We knew on third downs in particular, when they played man, we're going to have to make some throws and catches and protect it. And, we didn't do that. Everybody likes to say, a quarterback doesn't throw it very good or whatever the case may be. But everyone's responsible for it, from protection to route running to depth and to play design. So that's me too. So we're going to have to throw the ball, so we've got to continue to work through the pass game. We're going to need it, and we're going to keep doing it. So it's not just about winning one game. It's about trying to get this thing to where we need it to try to make a run and win a conference championship. And the only way you do that is to continue to work to improve.
And remember, they had chosen Walker Howard as a story, and then he got injured in the very first game. So you're using a lot of inexperience and youth at the quarterback position. But to Decimo's point, they'll have to grow up in a hurry before they get into Sun Belt play. As you can see the numbers, just 4 passing yards, 2 completions early in the ball game. That was it for Louisiana on the day. Just 4 first downs while Missouri racked up 32. Look at the domination and time possession. That tells you the story. They ran wild courtesy of Ahmad Hardy, and the Cajuns just could not get anything going, as they now have to try to get that youth to grow up a little bit and see if they can get a little more productive in the passing game before they hit the road next weekend against Eastern Michigan. There was one other storyline coming from this game, a very frightening moment for the Cajuns. It caused about a 7 to 9 minute delay. It was a frightening moment that you'll see a play one time. You won't see the injury itself, but it happened here when you're going to keep your eye on Marion Eliam. Remember, he was the one that picked up the fumble and went 100 yards for a touchdown that then got called back. He was upper right of your screen when a lineman fell on top of him, and Eliam did not get up. They wound up bringing out a golf cart, and then they brought out the stretcher. The sideline reporter in the ballgame said there was a hospital literally across the street. The way she was describing it, talking about how they had a trauma center. Everybody on the sidelines praying for their teammate, taking him out on a cart, rushed him over to the hospital. After the ball game, Decimo was asked about the injury and the impact on the team.
Anytime you see a kid who's on the field like that with an injury of that nature, it's really hard. A former walk-on who's earned a scholarship and earned a starting role, to see an injury like that is just, it's hard, because everything that kid has put into it to be here. So he's supposed to be coming back with us. I can't really comment on the extent of it, right now, but I think he'll be coming back with us, which is always a good thing. So yeah, those are tough at any time, and certainly in his case in particular, just the type of kid he is, and just what he's all about. Those are hard to see.
Let's talk more about the Raging Cajuns, the tough day in Missouri yesterday and what they will now do getting ready for next week when they're back on the road for Eastern Michigan. And to do that, we once again say hello to our good friend George Faust over from KLFY TV over in Lafayette, who's been covering the Cajuns for years. George, it's great to see you again. Thanks so much for joining us. First, we just heard Coach talk about the injury to Eliam. The good news is he did come home back with the team. That's good news. They haven't officially addressed the injury yet, but it sounds like he might not be back for a while.
Yeah, that's been a kind of a theme for the Cajuns this season, is having to deal with some injuries and really kind of taking them off their game. And that was evident when Walker Howard got injured, and now you have another injury. And it's in football, it's one of those things. It's not a case of if you're going to get injured, it's when you're going to get injured. So you have to play through it. Every team deals with it, and the Cajuns are no exception. Yeah, no, for certainly. Let's look at what happened on the field yesterday against the Tigers. Ahmad Hardy had a huge day, didn't play in the fourth quarter. I know the Cajuns are familiar with him from when he played at ULM. But, George, when you look at that game and you see the final score, scale of 1 to 10, where do you grade your concerns right now for the Cajuns? Yeah, the concerns are high. I think I'd put it at like a 3.5 to a 4, maybe. 4 is being generous, I think. The real problem is, the lack of tackling. I mean, when you have a freshman in Brent Gordon who's able to get 6 tackles. To me, that says that, hey, there's a lot of different moving parts in there, and you got young people trying to make big plays. And so Coach Des even talked about it after the game. They have to tackle better. That's something. Now, granted, Hardy is a shifty running back, and he's hard to tackle. But I mean, hey, they both have pads on. They both play the same game, so you got to deal with what you're up against. And that was a tough game for the Cajuns. In the end, they just need to tackle better, and I think that goes back to they have to go back and coach them up on how to tackle, the technique they need, and the proper way to do it.
Yeah, and it's interesting you started on the defensive side. We were going to get to that. You went there first because the other concern right now, George, it seems like they have to lean on that defense because you talked about the injuries. You don't have Walker Howard. And look, Howard came into the season not without a ton of starting experience. He came with high accolades from his high school days in Lafayette and all the expectations. But right now, offensively stagnant. They're 12th. I mean, they're dead last in total offense of 14 teams in the Sun Belt. They're 12th in efficiency overall. They're not staying on the field, so you're wearing down your defense.
No, and that's the case. The quarterback situation is chaotic, if you will, or just it's so disappointing because they thought they had that problem solved with Walker Howard, and it turns out he gets injured. Then they completed 40%. They complete 40% of their passes, and that's not a good thing. The backups are coming in and they're playing and they're doing the best they can, but they're completely inconsistent. So that changes the way a wide receiver kind of plays the game as well, I think. And you see that in, Sheldon Sampson, he's only got 63 yards on the year as a wide receiver. I think that's partly due because of the inconsistencies at the quarterback spot. Now, people can't get used to the way one quarterback plays as opposed to the other. So they need to find some consistency at that spot and on the offensive side of the ball.
And if they can't do that, George, let's finish up with this and talk about what they do have to lean on, because they're 12th in the conference in points scored. They're dead last in total offense. They are last in terms of passing, I believe, 59.3 yards per game. So now you're going to Eastern Michigan, and then you're going to start conference play against Marshall. How much do they need to lean on now and call for that two-headed monster out of the backfield and get that running game going so the quarterbacks, to your point, with their youth, can try to get a little more comfortable in the offense?
It's imperative. It's the most important thing, I think, for their offense, because obviously we've heard the saying before, a quarterback's best friend is a great running game. And, they've shown flashes. I mean, like Zylan Perry, 80-plus yards on a run. It happens. And then Stephen Blanco, the kid from St. Martinville, he's consistent. He's been a consistent performer. So if they can kind of set that up for these young quarterbacks, we'll see maybe the passing game open up a little bit, and that could help them against Eastern Michigan and running into conference play.
Yeah. Hopefully get it tuned up against Eastern Michigan, because then you've got Marshall there in Lafayette. That's when they're going to kick off conference play, and things only ramp up from there. It's always great local insight. George, I appreciate you sharing it and the coverage, for joining us here on Sunday for Game Notes. Enjoy your week, and we'll talk again soon and see if the Cajuns get things turned around.
All right, sounds good.
Let's head over to Hammond, America. Strawberry Stadium, the Lions making the home debut. Carson Camp getting the start at quarterback, but Coach Selfo likes to use multiples at the quarterback position. Camp, after a 7-yard gain, gained 6 more. That sets up Jaden Henry. That's a 5-yard touchdown, and the Lions out the gates are off and running against the Delta Devils, 7-0 Southeastern. The Lion defense making an early statement on 3rd and 10. Valley quarterback Josh Brown sacked for a loss of 12. The Devils jump on the fumble, but they lose field position. And the first play after the Delta Devil punt, Carson Camp to Jalen DiMaggio, and he is in the end zone. 45 yards for the touchdown, start of a big night for Jalen. More on him in just a moment. 2 plays later, more Lion defense. Evan Aubrey gets the hit. That's going to cause a fumble. KK Reno picks it up, and we're inside the 20, down to the 15 for the Lions. Jaden Henry then on the ensuing possession takes it in. From 5 yards out, it was 21-0. Valley would get a 49-yard field goal to make it 21-3. Now Kyle Lowe is at quarterback. He can spin it. Guess who he finds? Tristan Goodley. 65 yards for the touchdown. It's 28-3. Lions. Valley's coach needs a break, or a nap, or something to drink. It's a bad night. Camp now back in at quarterback on 1st and 20. He dumps it off to Jaden Henry. He goes 60 yards down the 4 sideline, hits the brakes, gains another, 20, 25 yards inside the 20, down to the 15, down to the 11. That's going to set up another touchdown for Camp. He's throwing it. Guess who he's finding? DiMaggio in the end zone, right corner for the touchdown. 35-3, and the Lion train is rolling. But we're not done. Mr. DiMaggio, have yourself a night. Low back in at quarterback. He finds DiMaggio back left of the end zone. Third touchdown of the night. 42-3 for the Lions as they cruise to the victory to go to 2-1 on the season. 56-3, coming off that big win off of Murray State on the road. They get it done at home. In the red zone, they never let the Delta Devils get there, but the Lions 4 for 5 in the red zone. And how about Jalen DiMaggio? 4 receptions, 82 yards, 3 touchdowns. Have yourself a night, young man. Now the Lions will carry that momentum over to Baton Rouge next Saturday night inside of Tiger Stadium to take on the third-ranked LSU Tigers. Frank Selfo comments after the win for his Lions at home.
I thought we played cleaner in the second half, right? And we had some guys make some plays and stuff like that. So that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see us finish and play hard the entire second half. The scoreboard doesn't mean anything to us.
And how do you plan on carrying on this momentum heading into LSU next weekend?
Well, we're just going to wake up on Monday morning and go to work again. That's what we do. We go to work and then try to get better each and every day, and then we'll get to the game on Saturday.
Look at the numbers for the Lions and how well they played, holding Mississippi Valley to 61 passing yards, while that two-headed quarterback monster for the Lions, 302 through the air, 445 total yards, 5 for 9 on third downs. They got the Delta Devils off the field, only going 2 for 12. Look at the average yards per play, almost 9 yards per play for the Lions from Southeastern, who also had 12 tackles for loss. So good balance on the defensive side, explosiveness on the offensive side. Now they get ready to make the trip 45 minutes west down I-10 and I-12 to take on the LSU Tigers next Saturday night. We saw the emotion earlier in the show from the Grambling Tigers and the Cowboys from McNeese. How about the emotion at Yulman Stadium? Sold out to welcome the Duke Blue Devils and a former familiar name. That name, Darian Mensah, now quarterbacking Duke as he was at Tulane a year ago. Look at the pressure getting to him early. Watch the sideline as they force the pass out of bounds. Look at the celebration from the Greenies and the celebration from the crowd. They were ready to see this year's Tulane team take care of their former quarterback. Jake Retzlaff came out slinging. 11 yards to Bryce Bohannon. Then he's doing it with his feet because we know he can do that as well. Look at his wheels. 13 yards here for the first down. For the Greenies, back to the air we go. Retzlaff hits Amari Hayes. 13 yards across the middle. It's another first down. Then Retzlaff's going to cap it off. From 19 yards out, the fake handoff, he pulls it, keeps it, off to the races he goes, into the end zone, and the Greenies have the lead over Duke. Now, after Duke missed a field goal, Retzlaff hits Javen Gordon, who keeps his balance, takes a hit there, keeps his balance, and he goes 15 yards down the far sideline. That's going to set up short yardage, and Retzlaff's going to do it again. Left side, breaks a tackle, gets it into the end zone. 6 yards out on 3rd and 6. It's 14-0 Tulane. Under 7 to go in the second quarter. Now, this is getting ridiculous. We're at the 19-yard line. Guess who's keeping it? Retzlaff, up the middle, breaks it to the right, into the end zone again. He has a hat trick before halftime. 21-3, the Wave are on top. Now it's 24-3 when Mensah finally gets things going. They knew he could do this. They just wanted to limit it. He's rolling, rolls right, hits Samir Hagans. That's a 29-yard touchdown, and Duke cuts the deficit to 24-10. Now 24-16, midway through the third. There's that man again. Not 1, not 2, not 3. Give him 4. Retzlaff breaks 2 tackles and gets it into the end zone for his 4th touchdown of the night. 31-16, Green Wave on top. Now it's 34-16, 4 minutes to go in the 4th. Mensah, 24 yards down the middle to Cooper Barkate. That puts Duke in good field position, and it leads to an easy pitch and catch from Mensah to Nate Shepard. Left side. Duke would add a field goal, but that wouldn't be enough. Second game against a Power 4 opponent for Tulane. Second win. And the students, they are field storming. Don't worry about it. We'll just add it to the tuition bill. Tulane gets the win, 34-27, to go to 3-0 on the season and drop Duke to 1-2. Retzlaff, what a day. 245 passing yards, 111 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns on the day for Retzlaff. Darian Mensah in his return to New Orleans, 30 of 51 for 313 and 3 touchdowns, but it's not enough as Tulane now takes its undefeated record to Oxford, Mississippi. Next weekend, they jump into the SEC to face the Rebels from Ole Miss. Afterwards, comments from the man of the night and head coach John Summerall.
play calls were coming in. It was open. Like, I think that Coach did a great job calling this game. Coach Craddock set us up for success the whole way. I think that the guys bought into that game plan. We knew we, had a great chance with what was being called and with the guys in the room. So, yeah, man, I just did my 111, did my job like Coach is preaching.
I thought our pass game was a little bit cleaner tonight than it's been. We were 17 of 25 throwing the football for 270. I've been waiting on that. In the first 2 weeks, we hadn't been there. We kind of have just been a little off timing and rhythm, and just, and Jake has been here for like a whole month and a half. And so, like, him understanding like how he's throwing a certain ball to a certain receiver based upon their speed or their size or their catch radius and those sort of things, that takes a little bit of timing to know your personnel. We call it KYP, know your personnel.
First time since 1988, Tulane has beaten 2 power conference opponents in the same season. Let's go to Ruston, where Louisiana Tech, also in conference play, much like LSU and Florida. First game in Conference USA for the season, taking on New Mexico State. Sonny Cumbie, he said all week he was going to rotate quarterbacks. He decided on Blake Baker to get the start this week. Let's find out how that would turn out. Well, first offensive play from scrimmage, Baker to Devin Gandy. That was 25 yards. It winds up leading to this, a 55-yard field goal from John Hoyt, and it's 3-0 Louisiana Tech. Defense holds, next drive for the Bulldogs. Baker to Jalen Mickens. Mickens splits the defense, and he's gone 40 yards for the touchdown, and it is 10-0 Bulldogs. Final play of the first quarter. Tech fans have been waiting to see this, a 33-yard pass from Baker to David Piero. And the Bulldogs are on the move as they go up top and now down at the 10-yard line. So we switch ends of the field. Let's start the second quarter, and it's good news for Tech. Andrew Burnett takes it in. 11 yards out, 17-0, and the Bulldogs are on the roll. Starting conference play. Whee! Up the hill and back down, and it's time to celebrate. Still in the second. Remember Trey Kukoc? He's now in the ball game, and he's going to show off that arm. Back to pass, fakes the handoff, 42 yards, up the middle, and there he goes. Marion Jackson takes it in. It's 24-0 Louisiana Tech. At halftime, Tech led 27-14. They had 406 yards of offense at the break. They had 416 yards all season coming into this ball game. Well, they would continue. In the third quarter, the defense joins the party. Logan Fife from New Mexico State throws it deep, picked off by Tech's redshirt senior defensive back, Jakari Foster. Take another look at this one. Foster on the read. Look at him come in from the right side of your screen. Gets the interception for that. Now in the fourth quarter. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Big man alert. Tech with the sack strip fumble. Logan Fife gets sacked by Jaden Mayfield, and Jacob Bradford is not Johnny on the spot. He's Jacob on the spot. Watch the big fella off of one bounce, picks it up and takes it the other way. 20 yards into the end zone, 34-14 Bulldogs at that point. Blake Baker and his Bulldogs celebrating the big win at home, and they start the conference play 1-0. 49-14 with a decisive win over New Mexico State, who gets its first loss of the season. Baker, your starting quarterback, 182 yards, 103 rushing, and 2 touchdowns. Next game for Louisiana Tech, they stay home against Southern Miss. Afterwards, Sonny Cumbie on the win and the play from his quarterback.
When Bradford scored the scoop and score, I think that was the one where everybody just, kind of relaxed. And, from the standpoint, I took a little bit of a deep breath because there for a minute the game was, again, it was like a game that's hanging in the balance waiting for us to score and take it out. And we finally did that with that play. I think these games like this in our conference are an anomaly. We would take them every week, but we know in Conference USA play, typically games are going to come down to a one-possession game. But nights like this, we'll take any chance we can get. And it was a lot of fun to see our players break through, offensively in particular. I think that Blake started the game with a lot of confidence throwing the football. I thought that he was not hesitant. I thought that he made plays with his feet. I think our offensive line took another step. And then I think the unit that really took a big step besides, our production and play at quarterback was our running backs. And now the maturity of our team will be tested from the standpoint of how we handle this week and enjoy it tonight and then get ourselves ready tomorrow and Monday for a really good Southern Miss team at our place again. And it's important that we start the season off playing at home well, and we were able to do that.
Great time to unleash its offense, therefore. Look at the first 2 games on the left side of your screen, and then what happened Saturday night against New Mexico State. The rushing yards, 97 a game. They went for 353 against New Mexico State there at home. Look at what they did on the red zone conversions. All in all, a huge night for Louisiana Tech to get the win. Next weekend, we're going to welcome back Nichols and the Warhawks from UL Monroe. They'll be back playing. The Southern Jaguars take the week off next week, but everybody else is in action, and we look forward to getting you ready for Game Notes right here on LPB. I'm Victor Howell. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next weekend here for Game Notes.
Major production funding for Game Notes is provided by Hargrove Engineers and Constructors is proud to support LPB. Since 1995, Hargrove has been employee-owned and relationship-driven. With 2,700 teammates around the world, Hargrove works as one team to go beyond expectations.
You have what it takes to begin your journey: curiosity, ingenuity, intellect, determination. Through a vast portfolio of affordable and in-demand academic programs, hundreds of student-focused activities, and wraparound services, Southern University meets you where you are, giving you the tools and support that lead you to a successful career in the sciences or the arts. Begin with your goals anywhere. Finish stronger at Southern University at subr.edu.
The Rolf Pugh Agency is proud to support this program. Based in Louisiana, Rolf Pugh has provided marketing services nationwide since 1981, partnering with clients in healthcare, retail, automotive, and more. For more information, visit rpagency.com.
With additional support from Lafayette Travel, the LSU Alumni Association, and the Cook Hotel and Conference Center at LSU, Louisiana Tech University, Natchitoches Regional Medical Center, Northwestern State University, Red Stick Sports, the U.S. Army Baton Rouge Recruiting Battalion, the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, and viewers like you. Thank you.